When life falls apart, it's rarely sudden. It starts with the small, almost invisible cracks, the little signs that slowly weigh you down. That night, I stayed up waiting for Sam to come home. Midnight came and went, and my patience was fraying. She'd said she was going out with friends and needed some time to herself. But when the door finally opened, something inside me sank. Her hair was messy, like she'd been out in a storm. Her clothes hung loosely, edges frayed. And there was something else, something I couldn't ignore, a faint dampness on her thighs. I froze. The scent in the air wasn't hers, and it wasn't mine. It was a man's cologne, unfamiliar and sharp. I cleaned her up and helped her into bed. My voice was calm when I asked, "What happened, Sam?" But inside, I was struggling to believe there could be an innocent answer. She wouldn't meet my eyes, her gaze glassy from alcohol. Through slurred words, she mumbled. It didn't mean anything, just once. "I'm sorry." Her "I'm sorry" hit me harder than any confession. Sorry for what? I wanted to demand, but I swallowed it down. I tucked her in and walked out. My heart clung to hope, but my gut told me the truth. Something had happened, something I might never forgive. By morning, the haze of alcohol had left her, but I was still wide awake, my mind looping over the night before. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the photos I'd taken while she slept, stains on her dress, a faint handprint on her waist. I hadn't taken them to be cruel. I just needed proof of what I couldn't yet process. When she came in, still in yesterday's wrinkled clothes, she froze at the sight of the pictures. Her eyes widened in panic before tears welled up. She broke down, sobbing. "I didn't mean for it to happen, it was a mistake." "A mistake?" I cut in. "You didn't just accidentally end up here. You chose it. You went to that bar, got drunk, and let another man touch you." She tried to explain, to blame the state she was in, but her words were empty now. It hit me. She wasn't apologizing to me. She was trying to ease her own guilt. And that hurt more than the betrayal itself. I stood, told her I needed air, and walked out. But I couldn't leave it there. Questions clawed at me. Who was he? Why her? How long? Her drunken confession gave me a name, Adam. That was enough. It didn't take long to find him online. He was the polished, charming type, the kind who could talk his way through anything. And worse, he was married, with children. His social media painted a picture of a perfect life, just like mine had looked, before. Digging deeper, I found Samantha still followed him, and he followed her. This wasn't random. That night at the bar was planned. I proved it when I unlocked her phone while she slept. The messages between them weren't long, but they didn't need to be. He knew she'd be there, and he came for her. This wasn't an accident. That's when I decided Adam's wife deserved the truth. Not out of revenge, but because she had the right to know who she was married to. I found her, Charlotte, and reached out. I kept my message careful, asking to meet about something important. She agreed, and we chose a quiet cafe downtown. When I arrived, she was already there, neatly dressed, her hair pulled back, her face calm but cautious. She smiled politely when we greeted each other, her expression softening when she mentioned Adam. That made what I had to say even heavier. I didn't sugarcoat it. "Your husband had an affair with my wife." The smile vanished. Disbelief took its place. Her hands shook. She set her coffee cup down slowly, almost as if the motion might delay what she'd just heard. For a long moment, she didn't speak, just stared at me, wide-eyed, as though my words couldn't possibly be true. I reached into my bag and pulled out the proof I had collected, screenshots of their messages, photos with clear timestamps from that night, even an audio recording where my wife had said his name herself. I let her take her time, watching as she examined each piece. Her hands trembled as she flipped through the photos and listened to the recording. The color drained from her face, and her eyes welled up, though she fought to keep the tears from falling. She sat motionless, lips quivering as she tried to make sense of it all. When she finally spoke, her voice was shaky but certain. "Thank you for telling me," she said. I simply nodded and stood. There was nothing more to add. As I walked out of the coffee shop, a swirl of emotions churned inside me, anger, relief, even guilt. Whatever happened between Adam and Charlotte after this wasn't my business anymore. My focus was on taking back control of my life, And that meant cutting ties with Samantha and the life we had built together. At home, everything felt unfamiliar. The walls, the furniture, the air, it all carried a heaviness. Samantha seemed like a ghost of herself, her guilt plain in her eyes and in every small movement. She cried constantly, begged me to listen, to let her explain, to give her another chance. "I'll do anything," she promised over and over. "Counseling, therapy, whatever it takes." But every time I looked at her, all I could see was the betrayal. She began slipping handwritten notes into my coat pockets, leaving them on my pillow, short, desperate messages saying she loved me, swearing she'd never hurt me again. At first, I read them. Then I stopped. She cooked my favorite meals, trying to bring back some normalcy. But I couldn't sit across the table from her and pretend we were okay. We weren't. Part of me wanted to believe her, to salvage what we had, but the image of her with someone else kept twisting like a knife in my gut. The trust was gone, and with it, everything else. One evening, she stood in the living room, face blotchy from crying, voice barely above a whisper. "Please, Brad. I love you. I'll do anything to fix this." I met her eyes for the first time in days. "I don't think so," I said quietly. The words hit her like a blow. She collapsed to the floor, sobbing, clutching at her chest as though she could physically hold herself together. Maybe in that moment, she felt even a fraction of what she'd put me through. For the next few days, the house fell into an eerie silence. No shouting, no arguments, just the oppressive weight of what she'd done hanging in the air. I had hoped that maybe the quiet would bring clarity, but deep down, I already knew, some things can't be repaired. I began putting my affairs in order, reviewing our accounts, sorting important papers, preparing for the inevitable. Every memory we had played in my mind, the good and the bad, but none of it was enough to make me stay. That morning, I walked into the living room. She was sitting there, staring at the floor, her face drawn and exhausted. I held the divorce papers in my hand, pausing for a moment, not because I doubted my choice, but because I knew this would end everything. "You made your choice that night," I told her, my voice calm but firm. "This is mine." I set the papers down in front of her. She stiffened, her trembling fingers reaching for them. "Brad, no, please," she whispered, her voice cracking. "We can fix this. I'll do whatever it takes." She fell to her knees, grabbing my hand, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. "Don't do this. Please don't throw us away." But the truth was, she had already done that. One selfish decision had destroyed the trust we had built over years, and without trust, there was nothing left. I pulled my hand away gently, but my resolve didn't falter. "I can't," I said, shaking my head. "I've tried. I've thought about it from every angle. But I can't see you the same way anymore. I can't see us the same." My voice stayed low, but the finality was unmistakable. I turned and left the room, her sobs echoing behind me. A strange mix of grief and relief settled over me. It wasn't the ending I had once imagined, but it was the one I needed. Some wounds run too deep to ever fully heal. For weeks, I avoided our bedroom. The scent in the air was tied to memories I didn't want to relive. I slept on the couch instead. Slowly, things shifted. I stopped noticing the empty spaces where she used to be and started picturing what could fill them instead. I replaced furniture, rearranged the living room, painted the walls a new color. It was more than redecorating. It was reclaiming my space, telling myself, "This is mine now." I wasn't just repairing a house. I was rebuilding myself. The scars remained, but they hurt less with time. And in their place, I began to feel something I hadn't in years: peace. As for Samantha, I don't know where she ended up. After the divorce was finalized, we stopped speaking. I heard bits and pieces, that she struggled to move on, that life had been hard for her. People say time heals all wounds. I disagree. Time doesn't erase pain. It just teaches you how to live with it. For me, that meant learning to enjoy my own company, to choose peace over a relationship poisoned by betrayal. I hope she finds a way to live with her choices, not for my sake, but for her own. In the end, we both lost something. I lost the wife I thought I knew. She lost the life we had built. But I gained something more valuable. I found myself. And that was worth every step of the painful journey.